Hello, hello, hello. It's Helen Hartsmith here again from the Heart of the Witch's Path YouTube channel. Hope you're having a good day. I'm having an alright one. Yeah, thank you for asking. I'm recording a video today that, darn it, I did not note the person's name. On a recent top 10 video that I posted, one of the viewers out there was asking about the possibility of maybe doing a top 10 about how to bring magic into a daily practice, or how to bring magic into your daily life. And I was really moved by the idea, and it got me thinking about, well, gosh, what do I do? And so instead of waiting to do a top 10, I just kind of jumped in, and I'm going to talk about how I have brought magic into my life in a daily way. And I thought I would show you. And so I actually sat down and look, I have a list. Ba-boom, ba-boom. And so I actually talked to the roomie and said, okay, this is my list. Can you think of anything else that I do? And she's like, no, I think you're good. I think that's a good representation of what you do on a daily practice, or in a daily way, whatever. So let's just start with the first thing on the list, and that is offerings. And so I try to do a daily offering of some kind. What I did was I established a schedule for myself, because I'm a pretty visual person and I like to see things. And so I made up a little table it's basically a Monday through Saturday kind of situation, where I thought about, well, okay, what are the things that I would like to make weekly offerings to? And I'm like, okay, well, the goddess, God, and Great Spirit, that's like one thing that I can think of right off the bat. My patron god and goddess, Odin and Bridget, I would like to give them a weekly offering. That would be pretty good. I thought about the elements, so earth, air, fire, water, and spirit. I thought about my other spirit guides, because I have animal guides, angel guides, plant and stone guides, and things like that. So I'd like to, give them an offering. My ancestors, those are really important, that I would like to give them an offering. And then I was like, the spirit of the land, the spirit of our house, that protects us and houses us and keeps us warm and provides shade and things like that. So those are, and I want to say that Kathy and I may have done a podcast about developing a daily practice. And so if we did, because we're getting up there, and so I don't always remember, did we cover this? If so, where did we do it? If I can find where it is, I will put a link to that podcast if we did one. But that is something, so I set up, for myself, okay, I'm going to do this on this day, I'm going to do that on that day. And so oftentimes what I will do is I will either light a stick of incense or a cone or something like that, burn incense on my altar. I might just say thank you. The offering might be a thank you. The offering might be something like the ancestors like coffee. The ancestors also like sugar, so like chocolate, things like that. I will also give energy. I will give energy and as I say, thank you for the presence that you have given to me in my life. And I ask that you continue to, guide me, give advice, or, in whatever way for my highest good. And so that's something that I do daily. Well, almost daily. I kind of take a break on Sunday. So, and just thinking, is that a leftover? Is that something left over from my days of being a Christian? I don't know. I just figured, well, I'd give myself a day where I didn't have to, do something. And I could, add in if I had, a desire to add into something else. So whatever. So offerings. That's definitely something in your daily life. And I try to do that in the morning, but you can do that whenever you wish to, kind of a thing. Oh, I just thought of something else. Let me write this down so I don't forget it. Yes, 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 yes. Oh, good, 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 good. I love how, inspiration comes and you gotta remember to do it. So anyhow, the next thing on my list is cooking with a magical intention. This is something that I don't always do, but if I know that there is a situation that's coming up that I or the roomie needs, some magical energy towards, if I'm cooking a meal, then I will definitely fill that meal with the intention. And a lot of times it might just be feelings of love or feelings of health or something like that. But you can also put different kinds of intent, health for a specific reason, or prosperity, or, any number of things that you would have need of. And I brought this to show. I actually made myself, and this is kind of like my special spoon, and I use it and the roomie uses it, and it's kind of fun. So this is a spoon. Let me see, how do I hold this? So this is a spoon that I made. So you can see we've got, a little witch's hat here with blessed be. We have a broom. And then we've got the goddess symbol at the top there. So obviously this is a wooden spoon. And then on the other side, we've got the pentacle. We've got some vining flowers that go all the way up to the top. Now, I drew a chunk of this. I am not an artist. That talent definitely went to my brother. He is the artistic one. I am the writer in the family. But I drew on this wooden spoon that, by the way, I got at the dollar store in a 3-pack for $1. So something like this, if you are an artistic person, this might be an idea, a really cool idea for a gift to make for a loved one, for that special someone in your life. And so I drew these things on here, and then I used a wood burner, okay, and burned the design. And then I set it with, I washed it first of all, just to kind of get rid of any lingering, pencil, because I drew the back in pencil. And then I have a confession to make. So I did not draw the hat, the witch's hat, and I did not draw the broom. What I did is I have stamps, I have rubber stamps, and so I stamped that on and then wood burned over the ink. Jeez, words are escaping me today. Sorry about that. So I washed it, and then I treated it with, you want to treat any of your wood stuff like this, I've been told, this includes like cutting boards and such, you want to treat them with an oil that won't go rancid. So apparently mineral oil is a really good oil to use for that purpose. And so I have a cutting board that was a gift. And so every so often I'll take like this spoon and that cutting board, and I will, slick some mineral oil. I think you might be able to use olive oil too. But just kind of treat it with that, and that kind of keeps it nice. Because I've actually had this for quite a few months and use it a lot. Like I said, I use it. I'm going to hit myself in the face. Let's just put that down. I use it. The roomie uses it. It gets a lot of use in this house. And so that's like my magic spoon, my magic cooking spoon. And so, yeah, I kind of dig that. I had fun doing it. I had fun burning it. It was a cool process. And like I said, I'm not an artist. So you can take cuts and you can cheat a little bit and use some stamps, and it's all good. So there you have it. Magical cooking, definitely a way to and you can put intent into boiling a cup of water. You can put intent into making a cup of coffee, because there is a process to making whatever it is you're making. So even if you're not a cook, like I'm not a gourmet cook, but I make some things, but I mean, even making ramen, you can put intent into it. So cooking magic is definitely something that anybody can do. Okay. That kind of leads into meal blessings. And this kind of leads into a discussion about a particular book that I'm quite fond of. I mean, if you kind of grew up in any kind of a Christian home, you probably said grace before eating a meal. And so I actually, you know, when I started on my witchy path, I never thought about, you know, blessing my meal. But I read this book called The Circle Within by Diane Sylvan. And it's a really interesting book. Dang, I'm having a really hard time figuring out how to hold stuff, peeps, and I'm really sorry. So this is actually something that my coven read together, and I highly recommend this book. As a matter of fact, I want to say that I may have done a book review of this particular book. But what I like about this is that there's a lot of daily practices that you can get out of this book. And so meal blessings, the concept of meal blessings, coming at it from a witchy perspective, when I read about it in this book, I was like, man, I wish I'd have thought about that on my own. But she talks about when you go to eat a meal, you look at the meal before you and you thank and recognize the sacrifice, all of the sacrifices that were made to bring that meal to your lips, basically. And so she talks about thanking and recognizing the sacrifice of any and all plants and animals that went into what was made, the sacrifice and the energy that was expended by whomever prepared it, including, you know, somebody, you know, in a factory somewhere down to whoever cooked the meal. And so recognizing those sacrifices that brought this plate before you, okay? Recognizing that, and then asking the food to give you the energy that it takes for you to do what is for your highest good. And I really enjoyed that idea. And so I don't always do a meal blessing, but, you know, it's kind of a nice thing to do, especially if, you know, if there's something that you're working specifically towards or what have you. It's kind of a nice thing to recognize. And there, like I said, there's a lot of daily practices in here. So if you're really looking for bringing magic into your life, this might be a book that you want to look at. And I will put a link in the description box. So if you want to go to Amazon and get this. This is an older book. I'm trying to remember when it was published. Looks like 2004. So it's a little older book, but it's a really good one. And another concept that Diane brought up in the book is actually something that I remembered earlier. I was like, oh, I gotta write it down. So she actually talked about, and she isn't the only one that I've heard about this from. She talked about greeting the day. And so you, the directions, so north, east, south, and west, they also correspond with a time of the day. And don't ask me. I believe dawn corresponds with the east. Noon corresponds with the south, because noon is when the sun is at its highest, and so that like brings on the fire thing. And then twilight, it goes with water, and midnight, I think, goes with north. And so she talks about, you know, taking the moment to, you know, face whatever direction goes with the time of day. And she actually has like little sample prayers that you can say towards each of those directions that just kind of recognize the time of day, the energies that it brings into your life, and thanking it. And so I was like, well, that's kind of an interesting idea too. So that is a way that you can kind of get in touch with that time of day. Or if you're working towards, perhaps you feel like you need more air influence in your life, then maybe at the dawn you want to take that time to face east and, recognize air and recognize that time and ask it to walk with you during the day. Just something to think about. So another thing that I like to do, and it's not always a daily thing, but it's definitely something that I've used a lot in recent years, and I'm really sure that I've talked about this before, and that is I will breathe intent or a spell into something that I'm drinking. If I'm drinking water, this happens to be tea. If I'm working on, I come back to health a lot because I did that whole master spell work for a year. So I kind of come back to health a lot. So and this is something that I did during that year. I will speak into the liquid, take a moment to kind of center yourself. And you might say something like, bring healthy vibrations into my life. Bring healthy vibrations into my life. Bring healthy vibrations into my life. Do something like that. And it doesn't have to be out loud like that, but do something like that 3 times and then you drink it. And I can feel that magical intent entering into my body with that whatever I'm drinking. This happens to be tea. So that's one thing that I really, really like to do quite often. Another thing I do too is I will greet entities. Whenever I leave in the morning to go to work, we have a large oak tree and a large cedar tree in our tiny backyard, and I always say good morning to them when I am heading out the door. I always say good morning to my car when I get out to my car. During the warm months when the flower beds are growing and doing well, I will say hello to all my babies, the flowers, the herbs, and things like that. I say hello to the moon and the stars and the sun. I recognize those things and I say hello to them, and it's part of the relationship that I have with them. And so I think that's a really cool way to bring that to deepen that relationship and bring that magic into your life in that way. I also will do a car protection when I get in my car and get it started, and I will visualize it's kind of like an elliptical sphere of blue light. I will picture that encircling my car, and I will see myself arriving safely at my destination. So that's something that I do pretty much whenever I get, and not only when I get in my car, I do that a lot when I'm going with somebody else. So when I'm not driving, I will do that as well. Meditation. Meditation. What a great way to bring magic into your life. What a great thing for a daily practice. To light a candle, to sit, to breathe, to clear your mind, and allow yourself to just be. You don't always have to go on a journey. Sometimes, just being in that mindfulness of concentrating on your breathing, doing that in a daily way, even if it's for 5 minutes or 10 minutes. Studies have proven that meditation is very good for you. So that is super importante on my list. The last thing that I want to talk about is, it kind of comes back to me greeting entities. A way to bring magic into your life is to stop and listen. I have houseplants. In the warm months, we have plants in the flower beds. I will talk to them and I will listen to them. I remember I have a bay plant that I got when it was pretty small. it was about so big, if that, above the ground, above the dirt, in that little 4-inch pot that I bought him in, and brought him home, put him in a beautiful pot. And for the first year, I had him outside, but then I brought him inside, and he's kind of been inside ever since, because he doesn't, you know, bays are from pretty warm weather, and so they do not winter over, so he had to come inside. And so during the winter, I fretted about, you know, how much water should I give you, kind of a thing. And I actually stopped and listened, and he didn't need much. That's what he said. I heard in my head, you know, there was like it was a word. And I think maybe it was like, hold back, or, you know, something along those lines. And I was like, oh, so in the wintertime, he doesn't need as much water as he does during the warm months when he does a lot of his growing. So I was like, okay, that's cool. So sometimes letting Magick into your life isn't about what you're doing. It's about what you're not doing, and allowing messages to come through to you from entities that you might not have heard if you're not listening. So that's a pretty important one for me too. So that being said, that's going to be it for this video. If you enjoyed it or learned something from it, thumbs up. Thumbs up are always happy. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel. There's a button somewhere. I don't know. But I'd like to leave a comment about, how do you bring Magick into your daily life? What kind of a daily practice do you have? I always like kind of checking that stuff out. Be sure to check out the links in the description box. Of course, there's all the social media stuff. There's also a link to the Heart of the Witch's Path at yahoo.com if you'd like to email me. And I think that's it. So that's going to be it for this video. Thanks for watching, and thanks for taking the time to walk the path for a little while with me. Until next time, blessed be.